Order. All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. This is our June 27th, 2023 meeting of the Parks Board. You're on the right place, right? Thanks for joining us tonight. Also, I'm glad I can be here tonight. Sorry I missed last week or last month. Let's see, should we do quick introductions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Steve's first meeting and Eric's second meeting, but
Sure,
Okay.
I can introduce myself.
Please.
You want me to go? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, thanks. Sorry if my intent was to be there in person. I was traveling and tested positive for COVID this morning, so I figured you guys wouldn't want me there. So I'm joining joining remotely still, and maybe on cue I might sneeze here. But I've been in Lake Forest Park for 3 years. We just fell in love with this area. It really reminds us, we're East Coasters. It kind of reminds us of some of the woodsy areas of Pennsylvania where we grew up, and just really enjoy the parks and the community involvement. It's kind of the right size city for us, and was looking for a volunteer opportunity. So this just seemed to really fit the bill for us. I have one daughter who is starting as a senior next year at Blanchette. So she got off a couple weeks ago. And my wife, I worked for REI, have worked there for 23 years, so have a lot of outdoor connection and toward outdoor recreation, and actually have a brother that lives in Durham as well. So I have a North Carolina connection as well. So excited to join, excited to participate, and plan on doing a lot of listening, and really excited about the new projects that are coming out and all of the involvement from this group. I watched previous meetings, and it's exciting that this group has done just a lot to advance some activities within the park. So thank you for letting me join.
Absolutely. I'll go next. I'm Tyler. I think I know most of you now. I'm the board chair for the last few years. I've been on the board for a while. Happy to continue on. There's some fun projects coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. What can I say? Lived in Lake Forest Park for 10-ish years. I have 2 kids, one at Brookside, one at Kellogg. And work at the Gates Foundation. But I enjoy doing this. So I'm also pretty involved in both my kids' scout groups. So we try to get out in the parks and use them that way. So it's kind of my connection.
Yeah, hi, I'm Richie, and I'm new to the board, just joined recently, and I'm a parent of an 8-year-old in Meridian Park, and formerly was enrolled in Brookside, and now he's in Meridian, and I love going to parks, and I appreciate all the parks that I've been to, and my kid and I have been to, and I am looking forward to bringing some activities here at Lake Forest Park that I see other places like neighboring cities like Kenmore and Seattle has. So I hope we can have that too for our own small city.
I'm Lori Bodie, a council member. This is my first term as a council member. So before that, I was an environmental lawyer of various sorts and ran an environmental program for Bonneville Power Administration. And I decided to run again for another term on city council. And I really like being liaison to the Parks and Recreation Board, and I'm also liaison to the Planning Commission. And maybe at the point where we get some new council members, I'll step off of the Planning Commission liaison and just focus on the parks, because we have a lot to do. So looking forward to it. And I think we have a really good group and a good team dynamic. So it's been really cool to see the special projects, whether it's pickleball or yoga in the parks or walking trails. So
I'm Eric. I'm about to be a senior in high school. I lived in Lake Forest Park for 13 years, and I'm a goal this summer to catch my first fish.
no.
Alice?
Sure. My name's Alice. I've lived in Lake Forest Park for almost 8 years. I have 2 kids, an 8-year-old who knows Richie's kid, and I also have a 4-year-old. And gosh, I teach at UW Bothell, and I like nothing more than to be doing things outdoors with my neighbors.
And Corey Roach, been working here 8 years now. Yeah, I'm excited, gonna do parks and environmental work, so.
Corey has about 6 jobs.
Yeah.
She's the event coordinator. She's a natural resource specialist. She's liaison to the Parks and Recreation Board
And then climate.
and the Climate Action Committee. It's kind of a lot, so.
We're making it work.
And we have, how many other, two other,
Yeah, Josh and Amy.
Josh and Amy, right? Yeah. So we will get, maybe one day we'll get all this together in the same place. That'd be great.
We're getting better.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty amazing. Let's see. Oh, should, look at the agenda that Corey sent out and printed up kindly over here. Any questions or concerns about it, or additions or changes, or any motions to approve it?
Move to approve.
All right, do I hear a second? Any council member or any advisory board member?
Third, second.
All those in favor?
I-
Any opposed? All right, thanks. So let's get into the review and approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Anybody present can approve. You don't need to have been at the meeting. Any questions or comments or corrections? Or do I hear a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Anybody want to second that?
Second,
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. Thank you. They're approved. Now we can dive into the agenda itself. So we have some old business. Feel like that first one is going to be meaty. Maybe I'll just really quickly, I'll give I saw on the minutes, there was something
Oh,
that
yeah,
the work plan
yeah,
presentation
yeah.
that I didn't give, so maybe I'll just briefly say how that went. It went fine. It's a very busy city council meeting. I thought that was interesting. They talked about some retaining wall issues. So I got out a lot of people in the room. But they all left by the time I got up to my part. But it was great to walk through the work plan with the council, and they supportive of us as a board and the work that we're doing. So that was great.
The council is quite excited, and you'll hear more about the next steps in the Lakefront property process shortly. So,
Great, let's jump into that.
but let me just mention 2 big things that have been occupying the council lately relate to the Sound Transit bus rapid transit route, where they're trying to basically widen Bothell Way to create northbound transit lane for buses that will provide 1.2 minutes of extra speed for passengers at peak transit times. And so meanwhile, they will be taking part of 80 residential properties, and even with the scaled down number of major trees they would cut down, it's like 380 down from like 400 some. So it's definitely a topic of community interest, especially if you live along or near Bothell Way. And so the council has been concerned that Sound Transit is not the most transparent, and while we have a lot of meetings with them, the information exchange doesn't get like confirmed in writing. For example, the city wrote a letter to the Sound Transit Board about 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, asking for a 90-day pause in the project. And we have yet to get a response from the Sound Transit Board. So it's an interesting process. I think, we're a small city, and the board is a lot of elected representatives from bigger cities, so I think it's hard to get their ear and get Sound Transit's ear, but we could save them a lot of money by scaling the project back. So the first thing that the council has adopted is an interim retaining wall ordinance, which actually requires some design, planting, and noise proofing measures. We are operating within as much authority as we have, though there's kind of preemption by the Washington Department of Transportation, but anyway, we're doing our best. We've had some good discussions with Sound Transit, but nothing confirmed in writing. This is the part that concerns us, is the lack of written confirmation. The second interim, and we'll hope to adopt that in final shortly. We just want to do a little more research on the noise issue and hear from the community again. Same for the tree ordinance. We adopted an interim tree ordinance. Part of what we're dealing with is you can't possibly replant the number of trees to be removed along Bothell Way. So what is our plan? We want to prioritize neighborhoods that don't have that many trees. We would retain like King County Conservation District to be in charge of that tree planting. And we have some interesting ideas from the community that we want to take time to reflect on. For example, since you normally are cutting down a mature tree and then replacing it with a tree that's going to grow to maturity in 30 years, what about if part of the mitigation was buying a property that had X number of mature trees and use those mature trees as part of the mitigation, because they would provide major benefits right away, and they'd be preserved if the ownership was transferred to the city. So yes, so there's an element here that connects to parks and recreation.
That sounds like a park.
Yeah, it
Would
would
that
be
be a
a
park?
park. It would be a park.
That's interesting.
It's just, honestly, it's an idea that just came up at the last public meeting. So just wanted to share that because there are a few linkages to parks, and also there's a lot of community interest, and then a whole lot of people who in the community who don't know anything about it because they're kind of shocked to hear about it for the first time. We get some of that feedback. So that's my report from the council for you.
Good one, thank you. Do you have any further updates on the Lakefront property that we want to talk about in this?
Yeah, so council approved the contract at last council meeting. Once we have that finalized and revisions done, I'll send that back out to everyone to look at. But we should have signatures this week. But yeah, so we are hiring DCG Watershed. They will be we'll be doing the project management, pre-design, schematic design services, including specialties that are landscape architecture, formal architecture, civil engineering, marine engineering. The preliminary technical guidance, including transportation engineering, geotechnical, environmental planning and permitting, arboriculture, cost estimation of the project, and surveying other things like that. And they'll be doing a big stakeholder outreach and engagement through the community. We'll be involved with you guys heavily and the outside community. They're working on our schedule this week. And so once I get that, I'll send that out to you guys. So we can kind of see, and we'll send them our community events too. So hopefully we can line up some outreach with all that as well.
I think the first thing that's up that I think will be of relevance is the stakeholder engagement plan. They have to actually develop a plan for engagement with different kinds of stakeholders, and I think getting input from the board to that plan and seeing also where the points of intersection with the board are in the draft stakeholder plan before it's finalized.
Does the council finalize that plan?
No, really, because we're at the policy body, and the staff is in charge of it, but so you have. I mean, I'm sure we could have a say in it and we will be aware of it, but I think you all, as the board will have, whatever input. I imagine it will be good, you know, but, there could be things, that come up, of course, because they, you know, they're used to working with all different jurisdictions and we're kind of a small, very community active, community, so.
They are used to our community. They did the Line Creek project, they know our community pretty well, so.
Yeah. I think we're happy with the selection, their selection.
Was there a timeline? I thought I saw some bit rough timelines in the contract, number of weeks for different phases. Is there
Yeah, we'll get the kind of schedule,
still pending?
yeah, but, you know, we don't wanna have this, the due date be December, you know, January 1 or anything. We don't wanna rush anything. We don't want this to take forever either, but, you know, we're thinking like next year approval of plans.
So I think there'll be, and to some extent, it depends on the nature of the community. So it's kind of, you know, obviously, we're gonna have cost limitations to what can be done too. So there's those issues as well, so.
Yep.
I've been thinking about that as, you know, is the city or is the council going to provide some sideboards for the planning process from a financial point of view? But we haven't had that discussion, but the council is very engaged in reviewing and approving the contract.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have open houses too with the council and you guys all involved, and it'll be a big process, but it'll be fun.
So given kind of where we are in that process, should we? And the fact that this group gets together monthly, should we think ahead about when maybe that consulting firm could come present to us or talk to us, or
Yeah,
July, or, I don't know.
yeah, we'll see, we'll work on that, see if July or August. We have like a certain amount of meetings, you know, scheduled out for you guys, and we'll work with like what will be the better time to use
I
those.
think we want them to come with some thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To bounce them off of you as opposed to just come to introduce
agree.
themselves, just to say that we're money there.
Yeah, they're not free.
They're not
no,
great. No.
They're not volunteering, really.
and then I'll try to get working on getting you guys out there again in small groups to view the.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool. The public works department's just cleaning it up in the next week or so, so it should be good for you guys.
What happens with the property in the interim, like while there's a decision being made to develop this as a park?
It's not, public access is not allowed, for
Okay.
security reasons, and, you know, even some of the sheds there's a lot of little buildings there, and some of them have asbestos, in them, so we have to do hazardous material abatement as part of it. I think we'll have, I think it's really important for the board members to get out there and look at the property. It really is pretty impressive. There has been a caretaker. There's still a caretaker.
Yeah, he'll be there.
There've been some complaints about him too.
Yeah,
But
he'll be there. I think it's either September or first of the year. I can't
Okay.
remember, but yeah, his lease will be up.
we've had a caretaker there who's rented, but been responsible for keeping the property up. So, but it's really, I think it will still, I think it will be a while before we'll allow public access.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys will get special access to, you know, and I think we'll have to make sure we have good visuals for the community to provide their input, since they won't be able to walk the property. Like maybe a drone thing. Yeah.
Is that another job you're gonna take on?
Yeah,
Join
let's go.
Great. Yeah, that's a really good idea though, because you're right, it's gonna be hard for people to really understand.
Yeah.
I'm sure that people have an idea of what
And
waterfront
I've
property
actually
is.
seen Watershed, they worked on, like down in Lake City, a water park. And they had an all open house online and it was really cool. And it was, you could see, you could tell what was going on. It was like during COVID where they can do any like in-person stuff, so.
I think we should do the different groups have been doing online surveys with the community and getting really good response. And there's the Climate Action Committee did it, Planning Commission did it. So I think there's a lot that can be done online and get greater involvement than if you just have a couple of public.
Yeah. I think it's nice we have a hybrid situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start.
Stay
guys.
tuned, yeah. I'll be sending you guys out more stuff.
There could be a few months where you want to meet twice a month, but I think we'll try to make it as easy as possible. That's one of Corey's jobs, make it easy as possible. Try. When, Corey, I'm trying to think of your schedule. When is the Climate Action Committee
The
coming
first,
out with their recommendations?
it'll be soonish,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I just mindful of, the process burden.
Yeah, I've been having like a couple late meetings, so a week sometimes, but it's okay.
We've already, Tom French and I have already heard from some residents who live along Beach Drive. Because they were thinking that were farther along in the planning process than just selecting the consultant. So I'm sure that's gonna be, I'm sure before this is over, you will all know the neighborhood of Beach Drive residents. And so will we, because they have serious concerns, you know, their parking, security, other noise issues could be affected, so.
I think parking is already an issue
It is.
just with Lime Creek
Oh, yes.
and people who are using Berkeley and parking on the street.
Yeah, I would just say, likely the parking is gonna have to be at town center. And so we'll see how do you manage that then, so that the neighborhood is impacted, you know, so it's gonna be.
So they have a traffic engineer on board and.
Yeah. Go park it out at Logbook.
Right.
Busy.
Yeah.
It is so much busier since they remodeled it, yeah, so.
Any other questions about that, kind of where we are in that process right now? Great. Shall we move on to yoga in the parks? Whenever I hear that, Alice, I think of your name. Do you have anything that you want to update us on?
Yeah, we've got 6 dates. So I think at the last meeting, we were not sure if we were gonna do 6 or 7. I said we'd try for 7 and then we could always drop the last date if needed. And it's interesting, it's the same as last year, like couldn't find an instructor for that last date in August. So I do think there's sort of this natural flow to the summer where people do things, you know, through July and then at the end of August, things taper. So we're doing 6 weeks. First one is July 8th, which is really soon, 9 to 10 a.m. in Animal Acres. Corey has updated the poster from last year with the dates and okay, so who are our instructors? One of them is repeating from last year, and then 2 of the instructors are new and just reached out to me because of our internet outreach. So good job, everybody. So 3 different women, they're each teaching 2 dates. What else do we need to know? I am out of town until the 6th, so I will be there on the 8th, but I think what I need help with most immediately is postering around town. So getting those posters from Corey and then putting them up. Last year, I just took a staple gun and I, you know, put them in Animal Acres, went to the businesses in the town center and all the public boards and put them up around the town center. And then just on poles sort of throughout the neighborhood, trying to kind of hit places where people who are walking in the neighborhood would see. So if anybody is out and about and taking walks, I would love some volunteer help there. And then the other thing is I have a busier summer in general this summer than last year. And so if I need help with just volunteering to check people in at every on the different Saturdays, I created a little sign up sheet, but I don't have a share function here. So I'm not totally sure how to get it out to everybody. I created a Google Doc where people could sign up for Saturday mornings. It works best if there's 2 folks, and it's really, really easy. Like, you stand there, you have folks sign a waiver. This year, if they've already signed it previously, they don't have to sign it again. And then make sure that the instructor, you know, is set up to go. And so if there's a way that we can have folks sign up to just check people in, that would be really helpful. I put my name down for several dates, but there's just some that I won't be around. And other
It's
than
really
that, I
fun.
think-
It's really fun even to be the sign-in person, I'll just say. So it's kind of very sociable, you know.
very sociable. It's a great way
Yeah,
to meet people.
yeah, I'll send your Google Doc link out to everyone.
Cool.
That work, will they be able to get in? Probably.
Yeah, I think I set the permissions so that if you have the link, you can edit it. So if there are weekends that you're available to help check people in, just put your name down on the date. And really it's like show up at 8:45, and there might be a little bit of having to sort of get the stuff around. Usually we have a card table and then a stack of waivers, and then we'll have the mic. And so that gear, I guess, will need to be transported week to week from whoever is the point person. Maybe it will be as easy as just bring it back to City Hall and pick up from City Hall. Or we can coordinate amongst ourselves.
Or how did we do that last year?
We can do the City Hall, we can just bring it back to City Hall and pick up for the next week.
Great.
Like on
And yeah.
Friday.
Yeah,
And now that I'm thinking about it, we don't even need the card table. Well, because we can use a picnic table for check-in. It is nice to have a card table to set the speaker on so that it broadcasts out. So maybe we do need a card table.
but yeah, we'll get it to you. Yeah, I think
That sounds great. So it's set up for starting on the 8th, going 6. Those
Yeah.
following 6 weekends. Okay,
Yeah, so the last one will be August 12th.
well, got it. Okay. Right. Any other questions about that?
No.
Great.
So I'll print out posters and send an email out to everyone when, letting them know they can just come pick up during business hall hours whenever you guys want. And then I'll send out the talk too.
Could I just say it's all ages?
Yeah.
So if you know anyone who wants to go, we've had really little kids, medium kids, adults, you know, that's what's kind of cool. It's easy and it's all ages, so.
And I'll say as well, something I really enjoyed about it last year was we would sort of roam around Animal Acres depending on the weather and whatever else was going on in the park. So on really hot days, we would be under the trees for shade, and on overcast days, we'd be out in the middle of the lawn to catch the sun. And then there was one week where the stage was set up for Battle of the Bands, so we sort of were around that. So it's just kind of this, and another time the master gardeners were over there gardening next to us. So it really does just feel like this very social and fun way to experience the park. So if you are the volunteer in charge, whatever week, I encourage you to, you know, pick a good spot, have fun with it. It's joyful. That's my pitch.
Really good. Thank you so much. I think it's, I don't know, it seems like one of our success stories, so I like that we're doing it again. Thank you. Shall we move on to the next agenda item? Anything else on that one? Anybody? Okay, the walking route project. think I might be on task for this one. Is that where we are with
Yeah,
this?
I think so.
All right, I don't have a whole lot to report. But I think the thing that's been holding me back on this is picking first, kind of getting a scope for what we really want to be. And then picking a date and a time, ideas for how to actually do it. And then the one big variable that keeps kind of going back and forth is the route and whether we actually close a road to do it. I think it could be very cool. It's not also like another layer on the coordinating for it. In general, the route that it's not specifically set, but the general route we're looking at is one that at least I tossed around, I think last year, was basically from here up to Brookside, kind of around Animal Acres and back, roughly. Hitting like half of our parks, I think, in that process. Maybe not literally half, but a lot of the parks, one of the smaller ones, going over to Preserve, Land Creek, and walking up the trail and by Brookside, Brookside Park and Animal Acres and Eagle Scout and the Willows and all that. So a lot of parks. About a mile, I think, is the entire walk. Extendable. There are lots of ways to make it longer. One big way to make it longer is to go close some streets and somehow head up or down Perkins, and maybe get over to Grace Cole. So that becomes a longer walk. Was it Perkins that was that your suggestion for a road to close?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that doesn't really get you to Grace Cole,
Not
but,
really. It is-
so those might be two separate things, alternatives.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of a temporary closure of Perkins because it's so lovely and, walking on the side of the road is probably dangerous.
Yeah, that's
Might fall into the creek. So,
blackberries, one of the two.
yeah, but I thought, like if we did a 2-hour closure, a 3-hour closure, or maybe a whole afternoon, one weekend day, we have to get the residents to agree to it. Maybe it's not the whole length of Perkins. So,
Or it might be a local access only.
Yeah.
Roads is.
exactly, local access only, yeah, so. That was my thought, is Perkins is a good one for a temporary closure, maybe just once a summer, as an activity like that.
I'll start working on the PD and see if they want to partner or be involved. I mean, they'll have to be involved, but how much they want to partner. See if they want to work.
Yeah, if they have any thoughts on how to do that or things to think about. For either of the roads, really, that one in particular, clearly with the road being closed, but another one that we've tossed around involves the intersection down by Starbucks. Like it's there, I mean, it's an issue. There is a lack of sidewalks in the city. So to think about how we manage, I don't know what size of group or what size of group we would have, but if the roads aren't closed, what's the plan for managing that?
How do you mark it off as a walking route for, X number of hours?
Right. And maybe it's not closed necessarily, but there might be some sort of staffing support.
Yeah, and markers,
Definitely markers. Yeah.
the hazard, yellow hazard tape.
Right. Insert sidewalk here, signs. I might have other reasons for this walking around, like sidewalks. How about time of year? Like for Perkins, yeah, summer seems like the right one. Any thoughts on when, I don't know, a good time of year or even day of the week? I was thinking like a weekend, but I'm not sure that's necessarily the best. Any thoughts on that?
I will just say my only thought, and I'll open it up to others, is if we're doing yoga in the parks in the summer, maybe it's a post Labor Day
Mhm.
thing when the weather's still pretty good.
That was appealing to me, actually. September seems like.
In the fall foliage is ready, so.
Even early October, still pretty nice usually.
Yeah.
Or it's not, and it's very authentic. That's what it is. Does this sound like, this is a newer group, so I probably should put it out there. Like, is this something that we're interested in kicking off? Diving into a little bit more?
Yeah.
Or,
They'll also say, moving the pet parade from the summer to a fall, event.
Hmm,
So we could also maybe
oh,
somewhat tie.
time together.
Maybe also-
It'd be interesting, when we change the start at that point, then that'd be, I picked down here just because there's parking.
That's what we started here before and then just went up to Amboy Curves.
Okay. And how did that, remind me, how did that work? Is the street closed?
Yeah, we just temporarily closed it for the walk. We had PD follow us to the town center and then from Brookside up was closed.
Okay.
And then they opened it after.
And it was a one-way?
Yeah, we just went up to Amway Curve and then there was like some booths and a temporary dog park. People could hang out and then just walk back on the road. to Weston.
We just give them a longer route home.
We can go a longer route to Amway Curves.
Interesting. So I have it on my calendar as in July.
Yeah,
Is it
canceled,
not? Oh, thanks for the eraser.
yeah. Rescheduled.
Reschedule.
Um,
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I could work
Yeah,
out.
because I was also thinking like maybe we could tie in some sort of like, maybe a board or commission is at each of the local parks around here, and kids can go take a visit to Whispering Willow, Brookside, and Lakers. We do have those.
Collect a sticker.
Yeah,
Each park.
you know, like there's something, yeah, there's something, so. they're
Get a
great.
passport and a stamp.
Yeah.
The kids would be
Kids
interested
would
in
be all
that.
over it. Yeah,
Yeah, so there's something.
at least my kids. Stickers might be useful though. Okay, let me think about that further. I like the idea of connecting it with the pet parade and maybe aiming for the fall, late September, early October-ish.
Yeah.
I'll bring something more robust back to the next meeting. Sound okay? Anybody else find this like a fascinating idea that they really want to dive into?
I do think we'll have some connection with Josh's bird watching.
Yeah.
It won't necessarily be like a longer walking route, but it is still similar.
Yeah.
You could go up Perkins a little way because of how close it is to, you know, Animal Acres.
Yeah.
So it could be like a very limited closure, but enough, because Perkins starts out to be pretty beautiful even right at the beginning.
Yeah, it's really nice. Not too steep at the beginning either.
Right,
Kind of nice.
exactly, that's a good point.
I'll just say that I think closing Perkins would be a huge draw because I have never once walked on Perkins because I'm terrified and I would love to. So that sounds like fun.
Same here.
So I will move on to the bird watching project, which might not have a lot of updates right now. That was Josh.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we?
Yeah.
Skip it until next time. Great. Multicultural event is next on the list.
Yeah, so I communicated with Core Culture and Scott, the person responsible for grants, said that Lake Forest Park can apply for 2 types of grants. It has to be, sorry for additional work for you. It has to be the Public Works that applies for an account and it has to be set up, and then once it's set up, then we can apply for the 2 grants, which I believe is 2,500 max for each grant. So that's something we can tap into, and then they have a roster of artists that are already with horticulture, and we can tap to come here and perform, and we'll make the grant, our grant application more attractive and likely to be approved. So that's I'm not sure about the timing though.
Like when grants are due.
No, it's open all year, I believe. There's no due date, but he said that if we can apply as soon as possible. I mean, it will depend on when we're going to use it.
Yeah, so, yeah, we can look into it more, but do you think we have to apply the same year? Like, maybe we apply in January, or do you think it's okay?
Well, I did broach the possibility that the grant will be used next year, so we have more time to plan. Make it really like let's make it a cultural Lake Forest Park Cultural Festival, for example. And because the grant requires that it is open to the public. And so we'll have more time to prepare for it. And we have the infrastructure, we have the mobile stage, which, by the way, thank you, City Council.
It was a very nice letter we got, thanking us for the use of the stage, so.
Yes, and then it was a big, it provided, it leveled up the multicultural celebration for Meridian Park, definitely. So, yeah, and some of the parents that are Lake Forest Park residents were surprised to see the stage in Meridian Park, so they were like, oh, hey, that's really nice of the city.
Do you have a sense how complicated the grant application is? Is it a pretty easy one?
It sounded like it was pretty easy.
Yeah, it sounds to me like, they make it be pretty easy.
Pretty easy,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's just a matter of getting the account open and then providing information, who, what, where, when, of what we're going to do to Scott to get it rolling and hopefully approved soon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so that's something the board, I'll start like getting that count together and look at the application I can send out, but the board can write most of it.
Yeah.
And the board can write letters of recommendation if you want, so, but it sounds like getting the account set up is the first.
it's the first step, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for you to do.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
And our timing would be, my experience, and what I've learned with the multicultural event that we had in Meridian Park is that a lot of the artists are busy in the summer season because of all the festivals and concerts and parades. So if we're going to do something similar here in Lake Forest Park, we have to have like several months lead time to get the artists logged in and secure for our event.
Were you thinking we'd have one major artist or multiple artists?
There are several multiple art, it can be, I was imagining something like to really make it, spread out throughout the community. Is it, I was wondering if there is a possibility, for example, to engage Sheridan Beach Club to host it in their lawn. And then engage with the Civic Club to host it in their part of the city. And then we'll have another one at Animal Acres. So it's kind of spread out.
Yeah,
And one at Horizon. And we'll have one artist performing in each of those, yeah, just one, and then we'll have food trucks. Yeah, or something like that, yeah.
Would that be like on the same day or like?
No, it's spread out on
Weekends?
different,
Different
yeah,
times.
different times, yeah. It could be 1 week of different days or several weekends, yeah,
so spring, because you're talking about next year, so spring,
that's possible.
would you be thinking of, yeah, it's not like, I'm just trying to scope it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
June's been really nice, except for most neighborhoods, yeah.
So that would be nice for kind of like yoga in the parks 4 weeks in a row,
yes.
you know.
Okay.
We'll work on that, we'll get the application going and kind of get more details and.
Yeah.
Going on that, but.
Oh, but sorry to confirm, for the grant process, they want to have all those details in the grant application, like our
Yes.
plan.
Like,
Laid out.
yeah, a plan, but Scott told me that it doesn't have to be like, okay, that's set.
Okay.
It can be like a general,
Okay, great.
just for the grant, to be processed
Got it.
and approved.
Cool.
Which brings me, do you want me to get that like laid out and pass it on to you? After you make it, you open the account, so I can do it over the summer.
Yeah,
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 well,
yeah, I'll get
so-
the stuff and get back to you, and then we can go from there.
Can I just say, if the grant is like $2,500, is that what it
For-
could be?
Yeah, there's 2 grants that we can
Uh-huh.
apply, and that's 5,000
Oh, okay.
total. Yeah.
So possibly we could pay each participant a reasonable amount of money.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Is that what the grant goes for? Or is it
yes,
paid
for
artists?
paying the artist, yeah.
Would there be anything that the city would have to pay to make it happen?
The stage.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Just staff.
staff time, yeah,
Yeah, like police. security.
security, yeah.
We'll have to talk about like the location part, because Horizon View doesn't have electricity up there and the parking's really bad, so.
Yeah.
Animal Acres is kind of the only place that does work. But
We can do the taiko drum up and, because they don't need electricity, they bring big drums, they just
Yeah.
need a big stage, so, you know, you can really enjoy them.
yeah, even this stage, well, we can bring a generator up there.
Yeah.
But it's just the parking at Horizon View.
Yeah.
That is very limited, so. We'll have to think on that.
Yeah.
But
Shuttle buses.
I know, I would love to do the pep parade up there, but I just
Yeah.
can't figure it out, so.
It's tough because it's a great location, but it has
Yeah.
issues. Yeah.
I can, send out preliminary feelers to, Civic Club and the Sheridan Beach Club, you know, to get them, scope out their interest in hosting.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice, you know,
It would just have to be for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for everyone. That's it for the cultural.
That sounds
yeah.
awesome. Any other questions, comments on that? Okay, next on the list is summer events update.
well, that pep parade was nice.
Okay, sorry. Jumped ahead on that one.
I think I did that, so, but yeah, that was updated. We have concert in the park tomorrow. And then Battle of the Bands will be in August, that first
I'll
weekend.
just say the guy who's singing, it was on The Voice.
Yes,
I
it was.
personally do watch The Voice, so I was surprised that he was coming to Animal
You like that, like
Acres.
No way.
What year was he on?
Recently,
Okay.
it was like, it didn't ring a bell because I don't watch it with that much attention, so.
I watch it too, I've watched like the last couple years, right? But yeah, it's not
I think
a
he's
TV show.
recent, I think he was a recent person, but yeah, anyway. Obviously not on the very high A list.
Wow. Might not have been the last show.
Yes.
I have something on my calendar for picnic in the park on the 9th.
September,
Okay.
May I ask what happened with the city council ordinance about having a beer garden? I remember there was some discussion last year and I think, I can't remember if we wrote a letter in support of
It
allowing
is- It
gardens.
is allowed, but some of them, it is allowed
With approval.
with approval and security and liquor licenses and all that kind of stuff, but there are some residents nearby who aren't happy about it, but it is allowed.
Okay.
So, yes,
Is that mostly for Battle of the Bands? Is that where that,
that was.
Yeah, we have a
is that where it was?
beer garden at
Okay.
Picnic in the Park too, that Rotary posted.
That
But,
one somehow wasn't as controversial. I don't know why. Yeah.
but so I will try to see if I can get, I'm gonna try to get a beer garden for the Picnic in the Park too.
Local 104.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that's who I was gonna contact to see if I'd be interested in posting. I was gonna try Rotary first to see if they'd wanna bring it
Oh,
back.
because they could do it for a charity.
Yeah, that's what they did before, so.
That's an easier approval for us if it's for charity as opposed to for profit.
Cool. For
Good
the,
question, Alice. Thank you.
for the, for any of these events, does. Well, there are a lot of things going on, right? Especially with, I was mostly thinking about how does this group use those events, or either just to attend and sort of be there to show that we are a function, or to more specifically to promote things, either engagement with this Lakefront Park planning process, which we don't quite know what that is yet, but those might be the events where we can start.
Yeah, I bet there will be some participation, maybe at Battle of the Bands, but definitely Picnic in the Park.
I would think so.
By
That's what I'm thinking.
September.
So maybe just as a preliminary, like, save the date kind of thing. That one seems like one where this group would be at that event for some part of it.
So the Climate Action Committee, the Stewardship Foundation just did Secret Gardens Tour, which is one of their fundraisers. And so they set up in Town Center and have some booths, and the Climate Action Committee had, a little table describing what they were doing. So I think if our consultant can help also put together some very simple materials for that, then the combination of the simple background materials and then having, a couple of Parks Board representatives there in shifts or something. If you want to spread it out, would be great.
Yeah.
Is that what you're envisioning for it too?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah, we're gonna do, I'm assuming by then we'll be doing some sort of engagement outreach.
So it's not- It's a
So,
time to promote that.
yeah.
Here's the website you go to or whatever.
To do the survey, yeah.
something like that.
So,
But we'll see how the timing works out.
I don't know if we want to start like a listserv, or if there's any reason for me to collect people's email addresses at yoga, or us to collect email addresses at Yoga in the Park. Because I know we don't quite have outreach materials yet, but that is a sort of captive audience of interested, parks oriented people.
I think maybe a big sheet that says interested in the Lakefront Park with a picture, sign up for our email listserv.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll create a park board listserv, and then, we can do like, interested in these projects coming up, right, sign up, yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
We'll just bring it to every meeting.
Every there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sign if they can.
And I'll print out the yoga poster and bring it to the concert in the park tomorrow. Do stuff like that.
What time is the concert tomorrow?
6:30.
Okay. Thank you. It's not June, that's why. Yeah, 6:30. Let's see. Oh, other. Anything else that should be on our list that we'd like to discuss in terms of, well, this is old business in particular, but this seems like the spot in the agenda where if there's anything else that's been that you want to talk about, want to bring up on this, in this kind of the nature of this work. Anything else that you'd like to talk about?
Eric or Steve, especially, any thoughts now that you've just had to dive into the deep end of the pool?
No, it is interesting just to see the board functions and how just how work is taken on and how it's I'm really interested in the intake process here and how ideas get floated, and then also how we build critical mass for, it seems like there's a lot of goodness with this yoga in the park. How do you like continue to build on things like that so that those that participate in that find each of the other events that get them like more community involvement. So it's just where my head goes to start with this is like, how do you build off of what's already working? Because I think, the walking piece is going to be tough, I think, to understand how many people would be involved in this. Like, you don't want to scale it up if, early, if interest isn't there early, but it does seem like the magic of the yoga piece is it's so modular. It's like scales to big and small, but I am thinking about kind of that piece of it. How do you continue to gather interest at each of these events so that they build bigger? So I'm just learning right now. Thank you.
I'll just comment. I think it's an excellent comment. I feel like we don't have necessarily an orderly, organized way of necessarily doing it. Like there's not a specific process that we take. It's sort of like the ideas have bubbled up for sort of naturally over the course of the at least my term on the board. The walking tour thing was one I feel like we started talking about day one, like several years ago. So it's been one of those ideas that sort of lingers, is that should be a good idea. But yeah, the logistics are kind of hard. But I think that's why the yoga one took off so well. One, Alice did a lot of work on it, so that helps also. So our own involvement. But it did seem a little more modular, and it's its own thing for that morning. So I don't know, it's a good program. So if you have other ideas, like we are always open. Let us know. We can put it on the agenda, or bring it up at a time like this if you have an early thought on something. At least those are my thoughts on it. Anybody else want thoughts? Okay. Anything that you want to add? Reflections or anything? Okay, that's fine. Let's see. Oh, we are to the citizen comments part of the meeting. So all you citizens out there, get ready with your comments if you have any. Do we have any? Okay. Yeah, it's a lovely night. I hope you enjoy the recording. So with that, I will adjourn us. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.